Hey y'all, I'm Hope, and today I want to talk about all the books that I'm planning to read in January, or at least the ones I'd like to kind of prioritize for January. So if you haven't seen my videos before, I usually do 2 challenge books, with the idea being that if I read both of them, I get an extra marble towards my ability to buy another book in future or pre-order another book in future, because I'm trying to bring down my own TBR. Doing a terrible job of that this week. This is currently that like liminal week between Christmas and New Year's, and Barnes & Noble had a 50% off hardcover sale, so I've already failed horribly. But I'm gonna try and start fresh in 2022 and really work on bringing down my own TBR, so that's what this challenge thing is for. So let's see what my cards and my dice roll gave me for the month. Okay, so first thing, I think we're gonna go ahead and do the card. That seems easiest, so.
All right, we'll just put them all here spread out for you.
Oh no. I'm kind of scared. I like this green one. Okay. That's a thick-ass boy, damn!
All right, hope you enjoy your monster of a book this month.
My 750+ page book, awesome. Okay, and then dice roll. 11th 10.
All right.
I don't know if that's at all visible, but it's a 10 and 11, so. Yay!
It'll look better than when I filmed it on my phone, because it wasn't until after you posted that video that I realized the exposure was fucked on my video.
At least I wanted to focus on the numbers this time.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so right off the bat, we're starting out strong, because I've avoided getting the that's a thick-ass boy, damn card so far since I've been using these cards, which the prompt for that is to read a book over 750 pages. And the one that Jacob helped pick for me, because he really wanted to help pick the card this month, was Akasif. It's A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 4th of the main books in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and this has been sitting on my shelf for ages. I pre-ordered it and then I never got around to reading it because it is massive. This just barely fits the prompt though, because it's 751 pages, but it counts, and he told me I'm not allowed to keep putting it off anymore. So I'm going to be reading this in January. This one I'll probably prioritize early on. One, because it's long and I want to give myself lots of time to get to it. But also this is one of the books that I need to read for my big project to read all the Goodreads Choice Sci-Fi and Fantasy nominees from 2021. So this was actually the book that won, and I need to get to it soon. So that's first book. And then the other challenge was my dice roll, and that gave me Portrait of a Killer, Jack the Ripper, Case Closed by Patricia Cornwell, which is basically a record of her own efforts to investigate the Jack the Ripper killings and see if she could figure out who perpetrated them. I believe, if I remember correctly, because I have started this book in the past, I believe she points to Walter Sickert, who was an author, as maybe the most likely suspect. I did start this when I was in like high school. I was working on research for a paper that I was writing. It was about Jack the Ripper because I was a normal child. But I was reading this for that, and I didn't get to finish it because I needed to turn it back into the library. But then I got my own copy, and now I'm finally gonna finish reading it. Or at least I'm hoping that I can. I've so far not been great at getting to my challenges, but like I have good intentions every month of getting to them. And I feel like with that selection, January is maybe the most likely month for me to finally get to my challenges. Beyond the challenge books that I'm hoping to read, I'm also planning to participate in 2 year-long challenges that were Buzzwordathon, which is created by Books and Lala, and then Tbr Knockout, which was created by Completely Melanie. So I'll link both of their announcements for those in the description below. But I thought these sounded like a lot of fun, and I just thought I would try it out this year because I haven't done a year-long challenge like that before. So the buzzword for January is who, what, when, where, why, and how. So a book that has any of those words in the title. And I've chosen She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, which is a historical fantasy that's a gender-bent retelling of the rise of the Ming Dynasty, I believe, in China in, I believe it's the 1300s? Yeah, 1345. So this one is very different from a lot of what I've read. I do like historical fantasy. I don't think I've read anything that was quite this far back in history, but I keep hearing excellent things about this book, and my best friend read this recently and has been raving about it ever since she read it. So I'm really excited to get to this one, and this is also one I need to read for the Goodreads Choice Project because this was one of the fantasy nominees. And then for Tbr Knockout, there are 2 prompts every month, and the first prompt for January is to start a new series. So I'm going to use She Who Became the Sun because this is also the beginning of, I think it's supposed to be a duology. It's called The Radiant Emperor, but that's the beginning of a series. And then the other prompt for Tbr Knockout for January is to read a book that you either meant to read last year, so in 2021, or a book that you started last year. And I've chosen Docile by K.M. Sparrow, which I've read almost to the end of. I have like 130 pages left. And I was really fascinated by this book while I was reading it. It was really interesting and I was really drawn in. And then I genuinely don't know why I put this book down, but I started it in May. I've never finished it. It is a pretty dark book in a lot of ways. So definitely like look up content warnings for this. Or actually, I'll just read off the back. Docile contains forthright depictions and discussions of rape, abuse, and other consent violations, as well as attempted suicide and suicidal ideation. So that's a big part of this book. There's a lot of stuff around consent violations. Like that is kind of the general core of this book, is about like whether people can consent to certain things in a system where they basically have no power. Can they consent to anything if they don't have the power to do anything other than consent to those things? So that's kind of the core question of this book, and I really was enjoying when I was reading of it. I think the writing in here is really good, but for whatever reason I just set this down and never got around to reading the end of it, so it's time for me to finally read the end of it, especially so that Jacob can stop giving me shit about if you ever finish Docile, because he keeps saying that. Then I have 2 other books that I would like to get to. The first one is just one that I'm currently reading, which is The Alienist by Caleb Carr. This is one that Jacob chose for me to read in December, and this is like his favorite book of all time, and he's been wanting me to read this for a long time. So I finally started it. I'm about 70 pages in, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really atmospheric, but I decided to carry it over into January because I was originally using this for the reindeer readathon. Ended up deciding I didn't really want to have to like push myself through it really fast because I was really enjoying the atmosphere, so I've decided to just extend it and keep reading it through January. And then the last book I have here is for another one of my goals for 2022, which is to read any subscription box books I get within a month of having received them. So for that I need to read A Marvelous Light in January. I'm actually currently reading the November Illumicrate, which was Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. So I'm going to try and finish that one in the next couple of days. But for December, the book was A Marvelous Light, so I need to read this one in January. And this one is like an Edwardian fantasy about this guy who, like, because of a paperwork error, becomes a civil liaison to the magical world, which he didn't know existed before this. And then I believe he also ends up finding himself cursed and has to work with his, like, magical counterpart at this bureau to try and like break the curse on him, and I believe they also like fall in love. So this is another one that my friend has read recently and has been raving about, and I just am very excited to get to it. So those are all the books that I'm hoping to read in January. This is a quick one this month. I am trying to get better at making these short and sweet, but I'm really excited to read all of these. I do feel like January is probably my best bet of actually tackling my challenge books because I've been meaning to read Akasif anyway, and I need to read it for the Goodreads Choice thing. Beyond these, I also need to read like 5 other books off the Goodreads Choice Project list that I have. That's including like additional books I need to read for nominees that were further into a series than I had read. But I need to read like 6 or 7 of them every month if I want to finish them by my kind of hopeful deadline of August. So on top of all that, I also need to fit in like 5 other books. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going to try my best, but those are all my reading plans for January. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll consider giving this video a like and maybe even subscribing. I'm currently posting new videos on Saturdays, mostly every Saturday. I have occasionally missed a week, but we're doing our best. And yeah, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.